shattered again. Like, what the hell? Like, I've just been doing lives every day about, my French diaries. Now I'm in Luxembourg, so it's a Luxembourg diary. I'm Dora, and this is my channel. This is my diary on my travels. Mate, I am shattered. It's about 4:15 a.m. And yeah, I just left France, Lyon, and had such a great time. I'll tell you about them in a second, but I just want to tell you about the highs and lows of travel. And I sound like an absolute princess here, right? I'm lying in bed. But I have to share while I'm like emotional and just frustrated and questioning, why do I feel like this? Because it's pissing me off. So no one's jumped on. That's okay. So let's go with, oops, don't change the phone around. You can't change it vertical. Sorry, horizontal. So I bought a SIM card. This is another SIM card debacle, okay? Just pre-warning. My God, I can't believe that that is the content I'm talking about. Data. And that some thought it is important. So anyway, in France, when I got to Lyon, no, in Paris, sorry, when I got to Paris, I bought a SIM card. It had 80 gigs on it. Was it 60 gig? 80 gig, which is a lot for a month for €50, €40. And I said, specifically, can you use it all around Europe? Yes. She said, where are you going? I said, France and Luxembourg. She said, yeah. Okay. France. I was using it in Lyon. Perfect. I had no idea that I'd have issues when I got to Luxembourg. Just didn't think so, right? So I called an overnight bus. That could have been a bad move. I was trying to save money because I'm a backpacker at heart, right? So you travel through the night, that way you don't have to pay for accommodation. But I got in at 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. I don't know what I was thinking I was going to do, like, that early. But the bus stop was chockers. There was lots of people around, which is good. It was safe. And Luxembourg is known to be quite a safe country, right? France has a bit of, sorry if you're French, but France has a bit of an undercurrent of, pickpocketing and not being quite safe. So Luxembourg has a feel of, yeah, it feels really safe, to be honest, really safe. So anyway, yeah, I ended up booking accommodation in France to stay when I got to Lyon, because I thought, getting here at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, shattered. I don't want to have to, yeah. I just booked accommodation, right? So I booked 2 nights accommodation. It's not exactly cheap here in Luxembourg, just saying. But, safety first. Or it's not even safety, because I feel safe here in Luxembourg. It's more like, being kind to yourself. Like, why torture myself? I mean, it's cold outside. I'd be sitting outside. There's no, like, it's not a bus stop that you can sit into. It was like basically the main bus stop that comes into Luxembourg. It's just like all the buses come out in the middle, and all around the side there's like chairs to sit at. So people are just waiting for their buses, basically. So, it's cold. And I'm like, it's 3:30 a.m. Anyway, so I rang my hotel today and said, hey, I'm coming in at 3:30 a.m. Is that going to be a problem? She said, no. We will leave you a code. It'll send to your booking.com. You use that code to get to the lockbox, and the lockbox will be your name and where your key is. So, yeah, you'll be fine. I'm like, perfect. probably a bad move I did was when I was in France, I should have checked booking.com to make sure A, that they sent me that, and B, that I screenshotted the code. But I didn't know that when I got to Luxembourg, that I wasn't going to be able to access data. Yeah, that is my travel low. Okay, so it's 3:30 a.m. and I get out of the bus. I'm shattered. I'd kind of had a bit of sleep, but I didn't realise that my data wasn't working. So I hadn't done anything to my phone. I literally was in France. It worked. Got to Luxembourg. It doesn't work. I don't know why. So I'm in the car park going, what am I going to do? I don't have access to maps, so I couldn't even walk to where I needed to go, right? I mean, I was going to catch a taxi anyway because I just thought, yeah, for sanity, just catch a taxi, you know? I mean, really, I'm in a different country at 3:30 a.m., just catch a taxi. Dora, like, come on. Like, trying to save money is being a bit pathetic there. So anyway, I was going to catch a taxi. But again, I don't have the address because I thought I'd have access to the internet. So this is a really important thing I need to remember. And if you're watching this now and you're watching a rerun of it, oh my God, screenshot. Doesn't matter where you are, at home, back in your own country, and then you're traveling somewhere, screenshot the address. Screenshot the address so that you know the address. Even a phone number, just saying, just phone number. Not that, you know, you have access to a phone anyway, but just so that you know where you're going and the phone number. Vital, vital move. Rookie move that I didn't do that. And to presume that I'd have data. So, yeah, that's a good tip. So anyway, I get here, can't use my phone. He keeps on saying, turn on roaming. So I'm like, what the So I'm playing on the iPhone, trying to figure out where the data roaming is. You know, you can put in the settings, looking for what you're looking for. So I'm like, data roaming, it's not coming up. I'm pressing everything, trying to find it. It's not there. I'm like, where the hell is data roaming? So I'm looking around the car park and I see this guy and I said, you know, parlez-vous English? And he said, yeah. I said, are you French? And he said, yes. I said, do you have a French SIM? Of course he does. He goes, yes. I said, I bought a French SIM in Paris and they said it would work here in Luxembourg. He goes, yeah, it does. He goes, can I have a look? And I went, okay. So he's looking at my phone. He's trying to turn on data roaming. And he had an iPhone too. And he goes, I don't know why it's not working. He goes, look, let me piggyback so that you can have access to the internet. I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Like, that's a beautiful thing. I can't believe I'm saying it's a beautiful thing that someone's sharing their data. Like, where in the world do I live now that's a nice thing? Yeah, I mean, it is a nice thing, but like, how sad that that's a nice thing someone does now that I feel so happy. So anyway, I was able to get onto booking.com, get the address, screenshot it, and then get the instructions on getting into the lockbox. So I had a code. So I screenshotted that. And then I sent a message to Diogo saying, hey, I'm here. But I said I don't have access to the internet. I just hotspotted someone. So, yeah, I've got the address for the hotel. I'm going to get to a taxi. I'll talk to you later kind of thing. And, yeah. And I was just like, I'm attached to the Wi-Fi and his Wi-Fi. And I'm like, well, there's nothing else I can do here. Like, I just have to go. Like, I've got the screenshot of the code, the address. That's all I can do right this minute. So I jumped in a taxi. I gave him the address. He said, yeah, it's not very far. And I couldn't even look on, normally when I get in a cab, especially in a foreign country, you look on, you basically go on to Google Maps and you follow where we're going on the train, in the taxi. So you can kind of know that you're going in the right direction because you are in a foreign country. I mean, I believe Luxembourg's safe, but again, like, am I in the right taxi? Like I said to the guy that was sitting next to us, I said, are these the normal taxis? He said, yeah, these are the normal taxis. So I was like, okay, well, it's not like a fake random taxi. Like, for example, when you're in like India, there are so many different taxis, and they say, you know, make sure you use the right taxi, like a registered taxi, not a fake taxi. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not being a drama queen saying that, you know, worried about which taxi I go to, because who knows? It could have been a wrong taxi, but they were all lined up and they were all the same like name on the side of the taxi. So I presumed it was the right taxi. So yeah, but like, you know, I got in the car and for that moment I just thought to myself, shit, I should, like, there's no number on the code or the taxi, because what if this is a bad taxi? No one knows what taxi it got into, you know? And I was quickly like trying to see if there's a phone, like a number in the taxi, and I couldn't. Yeah, so there was nothing I could send to Diego at home to say, hey, I've gotten this taxi. If you don't hear from me, this is what happened. So yeah, so anyway, I'm just going with the flow because I have no data now, because I'm not near the guy that I'm hotspotting on, and we're driving around, and I'm looking at the streets going, oh my God, this is country 62, but I'm so like in awe of the fact that I have no data. Don't know where I'm going. I can't check where I'm going. What if he gets the wrong address? Just all these things going through my head, right? I know they're negative, but it's 3:30 in the morning and I'm shattered. I probably had like 1 or 2 hours sleep. So anyway, he drops me off and I look at the place and I'm like, I have no idea if this is right or wrong. He goes, yeah, this is the right place. And I went, okay. And I decided to pay in cash instead of card. And I handed over €20. And he just jumped in the car and went away. Didn't even give me the change. So I thought, is that just presumed that you get a tip? It was 17.70 euro. And I gave him 20 and he didn't give me any change. So I'm presuming you have to tip in this country, but yeah, anyway. So I just thought that was kind of funny that I didn't get any change. But anyway, so here I am standing at this big hotel going, okay, what do I do? Anyway, at the door, it had, if you're coming in late, look at your instructions from booking.com, from your email, and here's a Wi-Fi. Oh, excellent, Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi didn't work. So here I am, no Wi-Fi. I still have the instructions, like I have the code for lockbox, but I have to find the lockbox, right? So I'm walking around the hotel trying to find the lockbox. And the first way wasn't right. So the next way I found it, I got in the back and got into the lockbox. And sure enough, there's my name and my keys. So I'm like, okay, that's better. So anyway, I found my room. My room. Should I show you my room? Yeah, I'll show you my room. This is my room. You can hear the birds. It's Luxembourg. Oh, the sun's not even coming up. I need to go to bed. So yeah, I'm in Luxembourg. Okay, so keep on going with my story about data. Okay, so the Wi-Fi didn't work, right? The Wi-Fi didn't work, but I'm in my room, so that's bonus, right? Tick. Safety. I'm here for 2 nights, so I don't have to check out at 10 o'clock in the morning, because that was another concern of mine. I don't want to book a room, get here at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and then have to get up at 10 o'clock in the morning and try to find somewhere to stay and be, yeah. So anyway, I'm staying for 2 nights. I don't have to get out at 10 o'clock in the morning, so that's good. But I don't plan to sleep all day because I'm in a new country. I want to go discover it, right? So anyway, got changed, brushed my teeth. I've got a mouth guard in too. That's why sounds like I've got a bit of a stutter. I got the Invisalign braces. So after you get that done, you have to wear a brace, like a, not a brace, but like a guard at night time. Can't believe I just showed you that, but anyway, that's why I've got a bit of a stutter at night time. So anyway, I'm lying in bed trying to charge like a battery pack and stuff on my phone. And I thought, oh, I better send a message to my friend Adriana, because she said, look, she knew I was getting in at 3:30 in the morning. She goes, send me a message. So, I might not get it, but at least in the morning I know that you got there safely. They've been very, they've been very maternal over me because, I came to visit them for their wedding and, they really looked after me when I've been in Leon, like really. Like my heart is, she even made me a sandwich for the bus and I'm so glad she did because I thought we'd have access to food like when you stopped at different bus stops, but it's not like I know of a bus stop in Australia. Like, they stop at big service stations and you can go in and use the toilet and get food. Not like that. Not like that here. Basically, the bus stops are literally jump on, jump off, and there's a toilet in the bus, which stunk. So I drank no water, and there's no access to food. So thank you for making me a sandwich, Adriana, because I had no dinner otherwise. So I got on the bus at 8:20 p.m. in Lyon, and I got to Luxembourg at 3 a.m. I was supposed to get here at 3:30 a.m. It got there early, so that's good. So I'm just talking about how we're reliant on data. So here I am in my room, just about to go to bed, and I'm playing with my phone again, trying to work out why the hell I have no access to data. So I turned the phone off and on. That sometimes works. That didn't work. It still kept on saying, turn on your data roaming. I'm like, where the hell is data roaming? Like, I'm looking in the search place. It's not coming up. Anyway, I found it in the most, well, not unlikely place. I looked up the SIM card and I pressed every button under the sun, okay? And eventually it said there, data roaming. Clicked it on. Guess what? I have data. Hence, I'm able to do a live on YouTube and update my Luxembourg diary. So that is probably a really good tip for someone coming to Luxembourg to know where your data roaming is, because if you have a French SIM, I don't know if this is general for other parts of Europe, that some countries you go to, you need to turn on the data roaming. I don't know why, but that's apparently what you got to do. It worked. I have access to the internet now. I have like a lifeline. I'm connected. But isn't it sad that I went, oh, thank goodness I'm connected. Then I sent a message to Diego saying, hey, actually I rang him and said, it's all good. I'm sorted. He goes, just go to sleep. And then I do a live. Why? But again, this is for me personally. I don't know who's watching here today. There's a couple of people who jumped on. Hi, how you going? I'm Dora from Australia. My channel's about getting to 80 countries, and I'm in country 62, Luxembourg, and I'm just talking about the drama in getting here and that the data didn't work. And I feel like a spoiled little brat princess that like, oh my God, the data didn't work. Oh my God, what am I going to do? But like, what am I going to do? Literally, I had to ask, I had to get some data from someone in the car park at the bus stop. What if there was no one in the bus stop? What if it was raining and everyone wasn't around? What if people didn't speak English? What if people weren't nice? I'm just really thankful that the first person I talked to was really nice. So, yeah. And here we are reliant on the internet. So I just wanted to remind myself, because if no one watches the rerun, that 25 years ago, I came to Europe for the first time. Little Dora in her backpack. I had a lonely planet, and that's it. That's it. I had a URL pass, and you'd go to the train station and say, I want to go here, and then, they'd book you a ticket. No access to the internet. 25 years ago, that's not a thing. It wasn't a thing to, have a phone that you looked at and looked up where you wanted to go, or look at the Instagrammable hotspots and stuff like that. It wasn't a thing. You looked up the Lonely Planet and it told you where your accommodation was, and you followed the map. Instead, today we look at Google Maps and we follow the map. Yeah, so how life has changed, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because my highs and lows in the last hour have been like, what the hell? Like, I was so disappointed that I didn't have internet, not for reasons that I couldn't do a live or couldn't do a post on Instagram, nothing like that. More for the fact that, well, I couldn't get my details for my hotel. That's pretty important, right? I couldn't get hold of Diego to let him know that I got here safely, because he knew I was coming here, and I'd be here at 3:30 a.m. And then my friends Adriana, in Lyon, to say that I was safe, but thankfully I was able to send a text message. Yeah, so I don't know. I find it really sad that I'm so reliant. We are all reliant on data. Yeah, so that's really what I wanted to talk about today in my Luxembourg update, was that how sad it is that we rely on data so much that it gives us a high and a low. My low, well, I just explained that I was stuck at a bus stop going, how am I going to get to my accommodation when I don't know my address? And more importantly, how to get into a lockbox to get the keys. Imagine I turn up here. Well, if I turned up here, the Wi-Fi wasn't working. That's another thing. Imagine that. If I thought, okay, well, I'll just go straight to the hotel. If I did screenshot the address, I would have got to the hotel. The Wi-Fi's not working. There is no one around. It's 3:30 a.m. in the morning to ask, can I use your internet? So just thank my angels, my universe, my God, whatever you want to believe in. I believe that, do good things and good things will come back. So I'm just so grateful that that person at the bus stop helped so quickly and just said, yeah, here's piggyback off my Wi-Fi, my data. And I was able to get the address and the codes. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. I'd be outside, sitting on the doorstep, freezing, just going, I've just wasted a night's accommodation. So I just want to talk about a story. When I first came to Europe, I didn't have access to the internet because we didn't have that back then, right? Back in the olden ages, okay, 25 years ago, I had a Lonely Planet. I got off the boat, so I flew into Heathrow. I got the boat from Dover over to Calais, and then in Calais, I caught the train to a place called Lille. It's apparently a famous place it's important for the war. But it was my first stop. I just decided I'd stop there. So I'm on the train, get off the train, and I'm walking around the train station trying to figure out, how do I get to the backpackers? Hey, Holly, how you going? So I'm just trying to figure out how will I get to the backpackers. And there was a map in the train station, and I was trying to read it, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. So I'm looking at my Lonely Planet, looking at it. I couldn't figure it out. So I'm asking people, parlez-vous English? No one would stop. So here I am, 25, backpack on my back, and I'm saying parlez-vous English to anyone in this train station, and no one would talk to me. They just kept on ignoring me. I know that I don't speak French, so, I'm the stupid one. They don't have to stop, but they could have, come on. If someone stopped me in a train station when I was in Australia and said, hey, do you speak English? I'd say, yeah. Can I help you? And, I'd try to help them. Obviously, time permitting, but, I wouldn't be rude and just ignore them. But this is what was happening in this little town of Lille. And I was like, I'm beside myself, like, how am I going to find where am I going to sleep? Same scenario like I'm in right now, tired. Nothing good happens when you're tired, when you're traveling. So that's probably a really good tip to be well rested. Try to arrive somewhere when you've had some sleep because things look so much different when you're not tired. Mind you, it's 4 a.m. Oh no, it's only 5 a.m. in the morning here now in Luxembourg. Haven't really slept. I've got a bit of a headache. Oh, poor princess. But, I'm safe. I'm in my room. I'm okay. I'm now connected to the data. But I guess I'm trying to say my point that 25 years ago, I'm in this little train station in Lille, France, and no one would talk to me. And that was my first experience on the continental land of Europe. That could have gone really bad. I went straight to I think somehow I bought a phone card. So back in the day, we didn't have mobiles. 25 years ago. I mean, they probably existed, but I didn't have one. So I rang my dad and I said, Dad, and I just started crying. Young Dora, 25, started crying on the phone to her dad in Australia, going, what have I done? I was on a trip for 3 months backpacking. That was my plan. It was my trip. It was just made it up. All I had was a backpack, my Lonely Planet, and a Eurail pass to travel all the way around Europe for 3 months. And that was my first experience that no one would stop and help me and talk to me in English. And I was shattered. I was like, oh my God. Like, my 25-year-old brain, or I was 24 at the time, thought that most people spoke English. I mean, I know that some people don't, but I thought, there are a high percentage of people that can speak English in most countries, especially in touristy destinations and a train station. So I thought, how is it possible that no one is talking to me? And my dad said to me, he goes, where are you? I said, Lily. He goes, it's not really a touristy place. He goes, it's a war place, but it's not really touristy. He goes, why don't you get on the train and go somewhere like Paris? Paris is like internationally a tourist destination. More than likely, someone's going to speak English to you. And I went, yeah, fair call. So I stopped crying, got back on the train and went to Paris. Guess what? Got off the train, parlez-vous English. I was trying to buy a ticket on the metro. And again, I needed someone to help me. Parlez-vous English. I think the second person I stopped, she was an American student. She goes, yeah, I can speak English. I went, oh, thank you. And I told her, I'm just got here and I'm just trying to buy a ticket for the metro because I need to, find somewhere to stay. And she said, look, I've got some time. Come with me to McDonald's and, let me tell you how it all works. So here I am, like over the moon that someone is actually helping me, right? So I go across the road and I'm sitting in McDonald's with this American student who's living in France, in Paris. And she said, this is, the metro is really easy to use. You just buy tickets, blah, 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 blah. Inside is the tourist information. So back in the day, tourist information is where you booked your accommodation. So, you didn't have access to Wi-Fi. So you went in there and said where you wanted to stay or how much you wanted to spend. So I went back in, booked a backpackers. They gave you a map, told you exactly which metros change and do what to get to the backpackers. No access to the internet, nothing helped me then. So isn't it interesting? So back in the day, we relied on, travel information, places to book accommodation. They gave you maps. So maps are something that we don't seem to use anymore because we have access to the phone where we have Google Maps. Maps are really good to look at. Yeah, so it's a completely different experience now because like I said, I got to Luxembourg and my phone didn't work and I freaked out going, what the hell? Like, but that was a problem, like turning up at a bus stop at 3 a.m. in the morning and you can't get your address of your hotel and how to get into the hotel because you've got no access to your internet. Like, what the hell? So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I think there's a few people watching. I'm just talking about my highs and lows of travel and arriving in Luxembourg. country 62. I can't even like get that excited because I'm tired. Yeah. I did an overnight bus from Lyon to Luxembourg, and yeah, I got here and my internet didn't work. So I bought a SIM card in France, and they said that you can use it all over Europe. And when I got here, it didn't work. That's my rant. So anyway, I'm going to go. See you later. As I said, these diaries I'm doing are really for my own amusement too. And if someone gets some amusement out of it with some tips, because I gave you a good tip at the start there, which was if you have accommodation booked somewhere, screenshot the address and the phone number. Massive, massive tip. I didn't do that because I thought I'd have access to the internet when I got here. I just presumed I'd have access. I shouldn't presume anything because I didn't have access. So, massive tip. Anywhere you travel, screenshot your hotel room, like your address and the phone number, because that way, if you could get hold of a phone, you could call them. I don't know if they'd answer at like 4 a.m. in the morning for me, but anyway, it worked out. Like, isn't it serendipitous that I get to a new country and the first person I talk to, very, very helpful. If imagine I got here and the first person I asked was not helpful and there was no one else to help. Like no one else to ask. I don't know what I'd do. I really, honestly, I'd be sitting out in the car park of a bus stop, freezing my ass off, tired, going, what am I going to do? So they're the highs and lows of travel. High, let's leave it on a high because I can't stay in the negative. I'm safe. I'm in a room. I showed you the room. So if you're interested, go back and look at that. I booked it for 2 nights so that I don't have to check out at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I can kind of wake up at 10 o'clock and not be frazzled because I have to quickly get out of this room and then find another place to live or sleep. So I have another night booked here so that way I can find somewhere cheaper to stay. Yeah, thanks, Holly. Yeah, I feel like a bit of a drama queen talking about, poor me in Luxembourg, I didn't have access to data, blah, blah, blah. But, it's sadly the world, the way the world lives now, everyone has access to data. We're so connected, but we're not really connected. Isn't it weird? Like, that's another story, isn't it, really? Anyway, you're out of your comfort zone, and when anything goes wrong, feel a bit of a big deal, so don't worry about it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely out of my comfort zone. But, it's sad because even in Australia, just say, for example, I'm sure the same for you in the States, not everywhere you go, you have access to data. Like, the reception can be really low, so that this might be a black spot, so you don't have access. But you know that you'll go down the road and you'll have access. So it's kind of a given that we are always connected to either Wi-Fi or data in our own country. So, you go to another country and you kind of think the same thing, that, if you bought a SIM card, that, you'll have the same access. Not necessarily. But anyway, I sorted it out. It's sorted. I'm going to go to bed. Thank you for listening to my dramas. I should actually call it drama, like Luxembourg dramas or like Dora's dramas. But anyway, I'm in Luxembourg. It looks beautiful. I cannot wait to tell you all about it. I've got to do another live when I wake up later on to finish off my France diaries because honestly, I had the best day yesterday. Lyon is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Everyone goes to France. I love France. Okay? Everyone goes to Paris, being, the capital of France, and it's a beautiful place. But I am going to tell you, Lyon is something you have to see. I went there yesterday. The last couple of days I've been, having a look around. I didn't pay anything to go look at any tourist attractions. Everything was free. You catch public transport and all that stuff you pay for, which consequently, apparently in Luxembourg, all public transport is free. So that's interesting, hey. But obviously, I'm sure attractions to go see things like museums and things are paid. So anyway, Lyon, most attractions are free. I mean, the museum and all those things, you got to pay to go into them. I didn't go. I just basically walked around and looked at all the amazing things. I'll just leave you with a couple of things. The basilica that's on the mountain in Lyon blew my mind. I mean, I sound like a, very pretentious here, but, I've been to the Vatican and seen some amazing churches in my life. But this basilica was something else. Like, the facade on the front was wow. You walked in, oh my God, I didn't even know where to look. There was so much. Like, I videoed it, of course, and took photos, but it was so beautiful and so intricate, and all the different designs and pictures and all the things that you have to see it with your own eyes. Like, I was blown away. It's up there with one of the most fantastic churches I've ever seen in my life. And wow, yeah. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. Travel's amazing, but there's some highs and there's some lows. And I'm just going to talk about that's it. Done. Okay, Holly's going to say, can't wait to see it. Get some. Yeah, honestly, Holly, I'm I'm like you. I love doing a bit of art. So I've got a little like watercolor set. So I love to sit somewhere and just paint a picture. Just kind of a different memento of a holiday. Instead of having a photo or a postcard, you have a painting that you painted, right? So I really wanted to sit in the church and paint it because honestly, I will paint a section because it was so beautiful. They had on the wall, that's another thing they had. On the wall, instead of paintings, they had mosaic. So they had little individual mosaics that made up these massive pictures. I took photos, of course, but they were so intricate and they were so beautiful, and they had gold texture kind of going through it. They stood out like, amazing. I would love to have sat there and just painted something or drew something. It was so beautiful. So you would have loved it. You would have loved it, Holly, honestly. The inspiration was just wow. Anyway, I'm going to go. Thanks for watching. See ya. See ya, Holly. Bye.